Hi, Valley here. I thought I'd start sharing videos on the preparation for detoxing. So I'll just talk a little bit about the detox, or very briefly about the detox diet. So when you go on a detox, your diet has to be as clean as possible, and you only follow the diet for about 2 to 3 weeks. However, the detox diet is actually what we would normally eat without processed foods. And this is basically the best diet for our biology because our biology is set up to eat natural food and not to eat processed food. So the natural food, of course, is food from the ground, from the sea, and animals that primarily feed on grasses. But if you look at our ancestors, they only ate berries seasonally, and they only ate honey, nuts, and seeds if they could find them. Now, if we look at grains were introduced about 10,000 years ago into our diet. And when they did studies with Egyptian mummies and looked at their tissues, they found that they suffered from diabetes due to the introduction of grains. However, I'm not going to start with grains. I'm going to start with sugar, which is a really, really big problem for the society that we live in. And the reason I'm going to start with it is because it's not natural to our body, it's a poison to our body. Not only that, it's highly addictive and it can cause pancreatic damage as well. Not only this, because the nutrients are taken out of white sugar, it imbalances the mineral balance in our body, and therefore the body, what it has to do is to take minerals out of our bones to put the body back into mineral balance in the bloodstream. So we all know what the problem is. If we've got problems like that, it's going to cause osteoporosis. So when you think about sugar, it affects all different types of sugar enormously increase our blood sugar levels compared to eating, say, low carbohydrate foods. And that puts a huge stress on the pancreas to normalize our blood sugar levels, which are really, really important because our body needs to protect our brain, okay? And it has to normalize the blood sugar levels so that the brain doesn't go into a coma. So it's so important that our pancreas is working healthily. And because the pancreas has to work harder to produce insulin when we have a high intake of sugar, it has the potential to cause insulin resistance and increase the risk of, and I guess, most people know that you can develop type 2 diabetes because of this. And in extreme cases, unfortunately, it can lead to potentially developing pancreatic cancer when you have a high sugar intake. So this is my first tip is, particularly if you want to detox and remain healthy, is to start reducing your sugar intake. And if you can, if you've got a high sugar intake, reduce it by 50%. Start there, and then reduce it further in increments. And you can actually, there are different types of substitutes for sugar. So there's obviously a lot of people know stevia, and monk fruit is becoming more popular now. There is inulin and also xylitol. If you need to have sugar at home for baking and things like that, but also obviously if you're drinking tea and coffee. However, from a detox perspective, those are the things that you would change as well. And working with my clients, I know that it's really hard for them to reduce their foods containing sugar because it causes sugar cravings. So there is a solution to cravings or cravings, and that is using emotional freedom technique, EFT. And it is something that I'm intending to do is to run EFT sessions to help people to take charge of this substance because it's so important to our health, And I was watching today, actually, I was outside the post office and there was a couple of kids out there and they had an enormous amount of sweets. I'm going, and they were young, they were like probably 7 years old. And I was going, oh my gosh, that is so bad for their body. And it's no wonder that more and more children are suffering from diabetes. And so, yeah, it's really, really important. I'm not saying that we shouldn't eat sugar at all because of course we've got sugar all around us and we celebrate with sugar, but we do definitely need to reduce it and just have it, have a little bit of it occasionally. That's not going to do any harm at all. And so I hope you found this video of help in understanding what sugar can do to the body. And I really encourage you to subscribe to my channel and to share it, because that really, really helps to get this information out there. So I really appreciate that. And thank you very much for listening.